Hey, what if you could have access to over 270 different mortgage lenders with every product imaginable to maybe a full point better than all the other competition? And what if the whole process could be not feel like a root canal without Novocaine? That all can happen. I'm going to tell you coming up next. Hi, everyone. Dan Polimino with KW Big Island and the Hawaii team. Well, in this month's April market update, I am interviewing a good friend of mine, Robert Lucido Jr., and he and his family come from a long background of real estate, serving people all over the country. And we partnered with Robert because he heads up Moxie Mortgage for our office, KW Big Island, and my team, the Hawaii team. And why did I partner up with Robert? Well, you're going to find out coming up right now. Robert, welcome to the monthly market update, and just give us a little 30-second elevator on you, your family, and how you got here.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. Throughout the family, we've been in the business for over 40 years. We've sold billions of dollars worth of real estate across almost all 50 states. But then, we've grown into different aspects of the real estate. We realized how important the mortgage part of it was for us elevating the level of service for our buyers. Obviously, for 90% of clients, it's the most expensive part of the transaction. So we did a deep dive trying to figure out how we could help our clients save as much money as possible, not just on the purchase, but as long as they live in that home. And so that's what we built with Moxie Mortgage.
Gotcha. And, literally, I've been telling my clients, they're like, well, why Moxie Mortgage? And I said, listen, I'm looking at the rate sheets that Robert's sending out every week. So let's talk about that because everybody likes to talk about interest rate. I mean, the rate sheets that you're sending out every week are like a half to almost a full point better than all the leading competitors. And so it begs the question that everybody wants to know, which is how are you doing that?
Yeah, first, so those weekly rate sheets are actually comparing our rates to the number one retail lender in the country. So it's not just any lender, it's the number one lender. And so how we do it is first, we're direct to wholesale. So it's almost like shopping at Costco instead of going to Target or some boutique retailer. So you're obviously going to get savings there. We cut out all the middlemen. And on top of that, we built it out in a way that we don't have a lot of overhead. So we're able to operate on skinnier margins to pass those savings back onto the clients.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we have access to every product. So one of the ways in which rates get driven higher is if you match a client to a bad product just because that's the only thing you have. So by nature of having thousands of products, we can get very granular and find the best product for that client.
It's mid-April now, but at the beginning of April, we saw a lot of volatility in the market, particularly when Trump instituted the tariffs and the 10-year Treasury was moving all over the place and rates were falling. So I guess I want you to rub the crystal ball and tell us where we're going with this.
Well, when I rubbed the crystal ball back in January, we predicted the 10-year would fall between 3.6 and 3.8. And a little over 60 days later, we're standing at 3.9 today. And so the 10-year Treasury, which is the foundation of the 30-year fixed mortgage, has fallen from 4.8 to 3.9 in about 2 months. And so that's a really good sign. Rates are already falling. And when we crack 4% today, actually, that's an indicator that rates are going to continue to fall. And I actually predict that we'll be around low sixes, high fives in the 30-year fix by the end of the year.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask because I had been telling clients for a long, long time that I always believed that a healthy real estate market needed to be in the mid fives, like 5.2, 5.5. I just thought, after being in this business for 20 years, that was the sweet spot that allowed people to either upgrade or downsize, right? You can sell a house, you can buy a house, and you're not going to get killed on rate, and it's not a disincentive, right, to do anything. Mid fives is like where we wanted to be. Can we get there, and will we get there?
We'll definitely be in the high fives, in my opinion, by the end of the year. Mid fives, I think, will continue. A couple pieces will have to fall in place. Primarily, we'll have to see inflation continue to fall. Now, the problem is that the government metrics they use if you actually did a deep dive in how they calculate inflation metrics, you kind of laugh. They actually do it by government survey where they call homeowners and say, hey, how much do you think you could rent your home for? And that's the basis for the PCE numbers and the CPI numbers. Beyond that, they're also lagging by at least 60 days, but if you break it down, they only update one region at a time. So it's actually 6 months lagging. So if you look at private sector data, you see an actual picture for where inflation numbers are at today, and they're way lower than what the government's saying. So when the government starts to catch up, you'll start to see rates fall to the levels you're talking about in the mid fives.
All right, I want to touch on two more things. First, tell me about, the advantage of having an access to 270 different type of mortgage lenders and their products.
Yeah, so a standard customer will go out and maybe shop at a couple lenders and you'll have those compete. When you apply with Moxie, we take your application to over 270 and they compete for our business.
Yeah.
Secondly, because we're a key account, we push so much business, we actually get preferred pricing over even the next best lender, the next best on the broker or correspondent channel. So we have the best pricing in what we do. And also those lenders are going to compete for the business to even give you better terms.
As I said at the beginning, when you tell people, "Hey, let's apply for a mortgage," they often think, I'd rather get a root canal without Novocaine than to apply for a mortgage. I mean, everybody thinks it's just an incredibly horrible process, but you guys have this down where it is simple, smooth, and easy. Tell me about that.
Takes about 10 minutes. You can either do it over the phone or through a secure portal. It's really as simple, especially if you're a W-2 employee. If you're self-employed, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but still in terms of time commitment, you're looking at, from start to finish, 15 to 20 minutes. And we turn approvals out in the same day. So you get that duck cleared, and then the rest, you're situated basically for the next year. The only thing you would need to do if it's 90 days longer is just we would update the credit report. And at that point, you're set for the whole year.
What about all the documents that all these lenders ask for, Robert? I mean, that's such a pain in the butt having to deliver all of that stuff. Do you help out with that? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have different loan officer assistants as well as processors that help you get those documents. Really, it's a set of core documents. I mean, it's looking at W-2s. You're looking at a couple pay stubs and a couple bank accounts. Like that's the typical average client. So you're talking about 5 to 6 documents for us to get you pre-approved on average.
Do we have to wait for tax returns, or is that only certain products?
It's more so based on the applicant. So if you're a W-2 employee, really don't need them. If you're self-employed, we'll need them depending on how long the business has been in operation.
Yeah.
Now, if we go with a non-conforming product, so most lenders only offer the government products, the conventional products. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of non-conforming products. So some of those don't even need documents really at all, except for your ID.
Now, I've sent you clients that need a loan in a whole bunch of different states. How are you able to lend in so many states?
So we're licensed in 48 states. We're pending in New York. Massachusetts is the other one. We also cover the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. So we fundamentally cover the whole country with the exception of those 2 states. So we're able to operate anywhere you are looking to buy property.
Yeah, it's really great. Well, again, I'm sending all of my clients to you, and I thank you for all that you do. And one last question. I think I saw you in an email say that you closed a loan in 7 days. How does
Yeah.
that happen in the lending world?
Our record is actually 2 days from start to finish right now.
Wow.
So our average is 10 days across all loans, which is extremely fast. I mean, there's no reason for you to necessarily have to close in 30 days. I remember when we did our first loan with your team out there, the first contract came out with a 45-day close, and they're like, is that enough time? And we closed that one from start to finish in 10 days. And they're like, how did you do this? It's by nature of being a key account. We have a lot of infrastructure in the back end so that we're able to turn appraisals very quickly. We're able to fast track underwriting. And so if you need to go fast, we'll be there each step of the way to match it so you can compete with cash offers better.
You mentioned appraisals, and I was going to say, how many times do you need to have a physical appraisal done where the appraiser goes to the house, and how many of them can be done like a desktop appraisal?
So that's more so based on a government system. It's based on the down payment, and the system will dictate whether there's an appraisal waiver.
Yeah.
If you go into the non-conforming products, you also can get exceptions that way. But in terms of FHA or conventional, that's based on a government system that says if it's waived or not.
Yeah. Robert, thanks for everything that you do. I appreciate you spending some time with us today. I wanted to get this information out all to our clients. And remember, guys, if we can help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give us a call. Call me on my cell phone, 808 987-3306. I'll actually pick up and you can really talk to me. And if you like these videos, by all means, subscribe and share them with a friend. And thanks again, Robert. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, everybody. And we're going to talk to you again next month in the monthly video update. Aloha.